Miguel Silva stood silently beside the small wooden boat. Early morning mist floated across the Amazon River. The jungle was quiet. Too quiet. Jake Carter watched Miguel carefully. The man's reaction to the coordinates had been strange. Not confused, not curious. Afraid. Real fear. Miguel slowly folded the paper and handed it back. "You shouldn't go there," he said quietly. Jake crossed his arms. "That's what everyone keeps telling me," Jake replied. "But nobody tells me why." Miguel looked toward the jungle. An endless wall of green trees stretched across the horizon. A place so massive, entire cities could disappear inside it. "You're not the first person asking about that place," Miguel said. Jake's attention sharpened. "What do you mean?" Miguel hesitated, then spoke. 3 weeks ago, a group of scientists came here. Jake already knew the answer. Elena Ruiz. Miguel nodded slowly. "She hired 2 local guides," Miguel said. "They took a boat upriver and disappeared into the jungle." Jake stepped closer. "And?" Miguel shook his head. "They never came back." Jake had read the reports, but hearing it from someone who lived here felt different, more real. "The search teams came," Miguel continued. "Helicopters, drones, boats. They searched for days, but they found nothing. No camp, no equipment, no bodies." Jake leaned against the wooden railing. "The jungle is huge," he said. "People get lost." Miguel looked at him. "No," he said quietly. "Not like this." Jake noticed the change in Miguel's voice. Lower, serious. Miguel leaned closer. "The radio signals stopped suddenly," he said, "like someone turned them off." Jake raised an eyebrow. "You think someone attacked them?" Miguel didn't answer immediately. Instead, he looked again at the coordinates. "That place," he said slowly, "has a reputation." Jake almost laughed. "A reputation?" Miguel didn't smile. "Local tribes avoid it. Hunters refuse to go there. Even illegal loggers stay away." Jake crossed his arms. "And why is that?" Miguel looked directly into Jake's eyes. "They say something is hidden there." Jake sighed. "Let me guess," he said. "Ancient curse?" Miguel shook his head. "Worse." Jake waited. Miguel spoke quietly. "Something that watches." Jake had heard stories like this all over the world, but something about the way Miguel said it felt different. Jake looked again at the coordinates. "If you believe that story," Jake asked, "why did you agree to meet me?" Miguel gave a small smile. "Because curiosity can be stronger than fear." Jake laughed softly. "That's exactly what journalists say." Miguel looked at the boat. "So," he said, "are you really going?" Jake didn't hesitate. "Yes." Miguel studied him for a moment, then sighed. "Then you'll need supplies, and you'll need someone who knows the river." Jake smiled. "Sounds like you just volunteered." Miguel shook his head slowly. "I didn't say that." Jake reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded stack of money. Miguel glanced at it, then looked back toward the jungle. After a long moment, he nodded.
By noon, the small wooden boat was ready. Supplies were stacked near the engine. Water, fuel, medical kits, satellite phone. Miguel checked everything carefully. Jake stood at the edge of the dock watching the Amazon River. It was wider than he expected, miles wide in some places. The water looked calm, but beneath the surface lived creatures that had ruled this river for millions of years. Piranhas, electric eels, giant river snakes. The Amazon wasn't just a jungle, it was an ecosystem of predators. Miguel climbed into the boat. "You ready?" he asked. Jake stepped aboard. "As ready as I'll ever be." The engine roared to life. Slowly, the boat pulled away from the dock. Manaus began shrinking behind them. Buildings faded into the distance. Soon, the only thing around them was jungle. Walls of trees rose on both sides of the river, some over 200 feet tall. Sunlight barely reached the forest floor. The deeper they traveled, the darker the jungle became. Jake noticed something strange. The further they moved from the city, the quieter the world became. No cars, no airplanes, no human noise, only insects, birds, and the sound of the river. Miguel suddenly slowed the boat. Jake looked at him. "What is it?" Miguel pointed toward the jungle. Jake followed his gaze. Something moved deep in the trees, a shadow, large. Then it disappeared. "Monkey?" Jake asked. Miguel didn't answer. He kept staring into the forest. Finally, he shook his head. "No." "What then?" Jake asked. Miguel restarted the engine. "Something that didn't want to be seen." Jake laughed quietly. "You really like mysterious answers." Miguel didn't respond. Hours passed as the boat moved deeper into the Amazon. Eventually, the river narrowed. The jungle grew thicker. Even the sunlight faded behind the giant canopy. Miguel looked at the GPS device, then at Jake. "We're getting close," he said. Jake felt excitement growing inside him. For the first time, this didn't feel like another myth to expose. It felt like the beginning of something real. But neither of them noticed something watching from the trees. High above the river, hidden among the leaves, a small black camera lens silently recording the boat below. Someone was already tracking them. Far away from the river, inside a dark control room filled with screens, a man watched the live camera feed. On the screen, Jake and Miguel's boat moved slowly through the jungle. The man picked up a radio. "They found the coordinates," he said. A voice answered from the speaker. "Should we stop them?" The man smiled slightly. "No. Let them come. Once they reach the ruins, they won't leave the jungle alive."